Did you want to talk?
Yes, I, Trenton, does want to talk. In fact, I, Trenton, do want to talk more. Welcome to Trenton Talks More. Alright, of course, the first thing we need to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 is how the console looks. Sure, on the outside it legit just looks like another Switch. And practically, it is basically another Switch. It's a little bit more powerful. Not even a little bit. A lot bit more powerful, more storage, ETC that we'll talk about later. But personally, the screen at the top and the bottom layer look amazing. I love it. It looks a lot more cleaner than it even does on the Switch 1, which already looks pretty clean as is. And honestly, I bet it just looks like it would feel like good to touch. Like, you know how like sandpaper feels good to touch? I feel like that's how that's gonna kind of look like it'll feel. And not only that, like, it just looks like a high quality, great handheld when someone's holding in your hand because it looks fancy, it looks modern, and doesn't look outdated by any means. Now, the only complaint I do have about the Switch 2's look is the Joy-Cons because the Joy-Cons look really weird. I don't know why they have like color indents in them and like on the sides of them instead of just being like fully gray or fully black or whatever color it is. I would have personally been a lot happier if it was just like a full black color and not just here's a little bit of mixture of color in here because in reality like the Nintendo Switch 1 I feel like is a little bit more colorful and playful while the Switch 2 seems like this like we mean business here. And I feel like that's just throwing it off a little bit. Another thing we can talk about is the new UI and the new Nintendo eShop. Now, for people who don't own a Switch, the Nintendo eShop right now is probably one of the worst digital gaming stores ever. And everyone who owns a Switch is nodding their head in agreement right now because it is a buggy and a laggy mess. Knowing that, sometimes one of the things that pee me off about the current Nintendo Switch eShop, and I hope that they fix this with the new one, is that when you scroll down enough, you can really start seeing it lag. And when you keep scrolling down, you eventually get kicked out and you have to start all the way from the beginning of the page. And one of the main complaints about the Nintendo eShop right now is there's no like for you section. Like Steam has a for you section. Hell, Xbox, PlayStation's digital game stores have a for you section. Hell, even the Epic Game Store, which no one likes, has a for you section. And the fact that Nintendo didn't have one until now is insane, and I'm very happy that they're adding it. And the menu, the Switch UI, just looks about the same, but it looks a little bit cleaner than the Switch 1. And I personally am happy about that. Now, next, let's talk about the internals of the Switch 2. 256 gigabytes of storage compared to the Switch 1's 32 gigs is actually really fucking insane in my opinion. That is such a huge jump and can install more games right off the bat as soon as you get the console, which is great. And is especially great for the higher power games that are now being ported to the Switch 2, like for example Elden Ring and Cyberpunk 2077. And also, it has 4K capabilities. 4K capabilities. That's gonna look really good for a lot of like Nintendo's like older, I say older, but Nintendo Switch 1 library that they port, that's gonna look really fucking good on the TV. Like imagine Splatoon 3 in 4K. That's gonna look fucking awesome. That would be like eye candy. That would legit be like eye candy. And let's talk about that the Switch can do 120 frames. That is a that is double the amount of frames that the Switch 1 could do at most. And that's fucking crazy. Like I if you would have told me that Nintendo would make a 120 frames console, something they've never done before, I would say that you're lying because there's no way in hell that we would ever see that in any capacity. And now that we do see that, it kind of just doesn't feel real. But I am all here for it, and I am very happy that they went this route and beefed up the Switch 2 as much as they could while keeping the cost. Well, just keeping the cost like that. Yeah. Now let's talk about the price of the Switch 2. If you want the bundle of Mario Kart that is for a limited time, it's $500. If you want the Switch itself, it's $450. which, considering the tariffs that have now been imposed in the US when I'm recording this, doesn't seem that bad in the grand scheme of things now. But it's unfortunate that it's like 450 to 500, because now you are telling me you're going to compete with the PS5, one of the most beefy consoles of this fucking generation, and is dominating the Xbox Series S and X. You know how ballsy you have to be, Nintendo. And honestly, I don't, and this is me being optimistic here, I don't think it's going to work out well in Nintendo's favor that they're pricing the PS5. Because when the grandma looks at the Switch 2 or the PS5 and see, oh, bigger is better, they're probably going to get the PS5 for their kids, and that's what's unfortunate. But again, maybe there'll be like deals and sales with the price, because the price right now as it is absurd, and I can't imagine anyone, even including me, even though I probably will, buy it at $450, let alone at $500. But next, let's talk about Mario Kart Worlds. I love the new cartoonish like art style that they have going on. It's a very like realistic cartoony style, and you can see that really well on like the first track they showed off and on all the other tracks they showed off. I personally feel like the character designs as well are more cartoony, and that works well for Mario Kart. It really does in most of the cases. I'm not sure how I feel about DK yet, but I'm just gonna have to get used to that. The backgrounds in the tracks, like in the new courses, look amazing. Backgrounds, foregrounds, everything looks amazing. Especially, let's quickly touch on like my like standard for how great a console can run shit, or for how good a game can look. Even look at the water in a video game. If the water looks pristine like it does in Mario Kart World, you know that this is one fucking beefy thing. And also, I love the idea of an open world racing game. Like, as someone who doesn't really play any racing games besides Mario Kart, I know that there's probably open world racing games out there. But it's just the fact of, it's something I would have never expected Nintendo to do, would deviate from how Mario Kart has been for years. Because Nintendo is very much if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of company. And this time, I feel like they went the extra mile and made such a unique twist on a Mario Kart game, which makes me feel like, for what, it's been, God knows, like 12, 13 years since the last Mario Kart game, give or take, with how unique, with backgrounds, art style, character designs, and the uniqueness of open world and knockout mode and things of that nature, I honestly do feel like this game is worth the wait. I don't know if I will be the only one saying that, but for now I feel like I am truly the only one saying that on social media of some sort, that Mario Kart Worlds will be worth the wait. Now, let's talk about the second elephant in the room related to pricing. Mario Kart Worlds. Now, for non-Nintendo fans, they do not know this yet, and what I'm about to tell you with the pricing of this game is going to be fucking insane, and it's probably going to make you pause the video in disbelief, or pause however you're doing it. You're probably just going to just take a moment, take a breather, and go, Mario Kart Worlds is launching $80 digitally and $90 physical, which is fucking insane. I don't think there's ever been a Mario Kart that is worth $80, let alone $90, let alone any Switch game that has been worth $80. I don't think there's been any Nintendo game worth $80 ever. And that is hella ballsy in all the wrong ways. It just feels like, hey, we know you're going to buy this anyways. Why don't we price it as high as humanly possible? Yes, that would drive more people to like us. The company Nintendo, who is very well known for being greedy and cracking down on emulation and things that gamers necessarily just don't like. Yeah, but that'll make everyone love us. But like $80 is absurd, right? I can't think about that. I can't be the only one thinking about that. For contrast, let's talk about two different games, Elden Ring and Assassin's Creed, the new one. Assassin's Creed, the new one, goes for $80, I believe, and Elden Ring goes for $60. Those games, I'm not going to lie, will probably have a lot more content in them, which justifies the higher price, than Mario Kart Worlds. And this is only me speculating on the 2 trailers we've seen and the 2 Nintendo Treehouses they made specifically about this Mario Kart game. It doesn't feel like this game should be priced that high. Let alone most games shouldn't be priced to $80 to $90. That is someone's like almost entire day of pay going straight into a video game. When you think about it that way, that is an absurd amount of money that you're fucking losing. Mario Kart Worlds is not a game. It's gonna be a fucking investment, and that's where I feel like they went wrong with the pricing. But you know what? I'm not gonna go on pricing too hard because we still have one more Nintendo Direct dedicated to just this Mario Kart game. Maybe they added in a bunch of new content that justifies this $80 to $90 price tag. I highly doubt it, but until then, I'm not gonna give my full thoughts on Mario Kart Worlds. Next, let's talk about game chat. Now, Nintendo has done something that they did previously, but made it better. So, back on Switch 1, you did have voice chat on the console, but what you need to do is you need to install the Nintendo Switch app on your phone, and then in certain games you would be able to chat using the app on your phone, and you also need to have the app. The other person you're trying to talk to also needs to have the app on their phone too. And there's public lobbies like Mario Kart, for example, that would support that. And oh my god, I remember this is gonna be a weird thing because Nintendo's voice chats aren't regulated on. I don't think this new version is going to be regulated either. Especially on the mobile app, it wasn't regulated. I remember I was just playing Mario Kart. Right, I have my audio muted because I'm like I don't really want to talk to a bunch of these adults because at the time I was 14, and there was someone literally trying to get other people's like phone numbers, but not just any other people's phone numbers, minors phone numbers. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'm leaving. That's when I left. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving the I'm leaving the public lobby now in the voice chat. So yeah, I like the idea of this new voice chat just being like private as well. It's nice. It's gonna be very laid back. The fact you don't need a mobile app for it is gonna be great as well. Because I'm tired of installing apps on my phone. If anything, I wish I could just go to a fucking flip phone and not worry about it. But I know as soon as I do that, I'm gonna miss my phone. But yeah, Nintendo finally making like built-in voice chat in the console and not some prior accessory you need is great. I love that because you know how chill is gonna be, right? With me and let's go for example, me and Jordan are both Nintendo fanboy and fangirl, right? So imagine how it's gonna be when we want to play Mario Kart Worlds launch day. We each have our Switch. We're in different like. She's at where she lives. I'm here, and then we just share our screen. We can fucking just talk about the game. We don't need Discord. And have potentially like the game's audio just bleeding through the mic. It's wonderful. Now sharing the screen. I don't know if you can see with the footage that's right here. Thank you, editing Trenton. But in terms of sharing the screen on the Switch, it's a bit laggy. But you know what? It's fine. It's pretty. I'm still like I am surprised that Nintendo's even allowing you to share your screen because that feels very anti-Nintendo to me in ways, and that was such a welcome surprise when I saw that because like imagine you're like, hey, I'm stuck at this horrible part in this game. Let's go for example, Tears of the Kingdom, a game I never played. Hey, I'm stuck at this shrine. Can someone help me out? And you're already in voice chat. All you have to do is share your screen and bam, you got a guide right there who's probably played the game. That's fucking sick as hell. And sure, maybe the frame dipping of the video isn't the best thing that could have happened, but even the fact that you can just share your screen is awesome and really shows how beefy this console is going to be. And honestly, I can feel that there's going to be a lot more good uses of the sharing screen thing later on the road. The only thing that I really do have a problem with is the fact you need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription required, especially since there's a button that's baked right into the Joy-Con. So it's kind of inevitable you gotta hit it at some point, which is awful. Um, and keep in mind, as long as they don't raise prizes, you can get the base plan, which is what I have, like $20 yearly, which isn't really bad at all in comparison to Game Pass Core. Uh, Game Pass Core. I hate that thing. But would I prefer using this over normal Discord? Honestly, if this was a thing where I could be like, hey, here's a link, and like have, for example, Jackson, who doesn't have a Switch, join in here on me and Jordan's conversations from his computer or his phone, and like be able to watch my screen as well, and he's just doing it in his web browser or an app on his computer. I would honestly prefer using this over normal Discord, but since I don't think Nintendo's gonna go that route ever, and if they ever do, I will take back these words and I will probably just use the Switch game chat. No, Discord is still probably a good way to communicate right now. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on the Switch 2. Let's pass it over to, I guess, present day Trenton with his thoughts about the Nintendo Direct. So now it's time to talk about the Nintendo Direct that is not about the Switch 2. First off, let's start with Patapon 1+2. Now, I really like the look of like the bosses, the little creatures you play as. I think the art style is really cute, but also has like a layer of like, I like the darkness of it too. And I really like the rhythm game aspect of combining like unique combos. Like for example, Pata Pata Patapon would march you forward, and then you can do other things relating to the words of Patapon to fight. And honestly, I don't think there's been many games I played that has like boss fights in rhythm games. So I do feel like that is a really unique aspect. Next would be Rift of the Necro Dancer. Now, the charting, from what I've seen in the trailer briefly, looks really good. I am really impressed with the charting. The art style looks very good and it looks very good, very professional, especially in that anime-esque art style. And it looks easier than Necromancer, which was the game before Necrodancer. And I have actually right now, as I'm currently doing this Trenton Talks, I have been playing Necromancer. And I don't know what it is about that game, but I cannot get the rhythm of it and for a lifetime, and I don't understand. Like, it's a game where it's a rhythm game where you move around in a constant pattern while music's playing and attack in a constant pattern. But each mob or boss, whatever you want to call it, that you come across, each has a different unique pattern. And I honestly think that's what's fucking me up the most, because I'm not used to I'm not used to a rhythm game again where you battle enemies. But this one you battle enemies and each enemy has a different way of moving along to the beat, and it's been fucking me over a little bit because I would be like, again, because I'm not used to it, I'd be like, I'd go to move, and then the fucking blue slime, for example, moves on me, and I die. But yeah, it's a fun game. The Necromancer and Necrodancer, both the art styles are great. I like the pixel art of Necromancer, and it's a vibe. It's just I can't for the life of me get it. Now, Pokemon Z plus A. Dude, the backgrounds that I've seen for Pokemon Z plus A look really beautiful. I love the character designs. All the clothing that the characters have, I feel like I don't something you would see in real life. And Pokemon has always done a good job of like bridging the gap between what's reality and what isn't reality, and trying to make things as mundane as possible while also being like, hey, you gotta collect these animals, you gotta kill these animals, which I've always appreciated about the Pokemon series, and this time it's no exception. Again, everything looks still very mundane. It looks like it's just another average day in this city, and it's way more easier to get engrossed in the game that way. And that's only going, again, from what we've seen based on trailers. Something that is unique with this Pokemon game is that you have the ability to attack the Pokemon as it's attacking you, and vice versa. So it's no turn-based combat like Pokemon usually is. And I honestly think that's going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to see how they handle it, because everyone knows that Pokemon is you attack first, you wait, and then the other guy attacks you, and then they wait, and then you attack back. But I feel like battles can now be a lot more intense and be a lot more thrilling if it's just like you have to make an action now. You can't wait. You got to do the action now. You got to go for it. And I can't wait to see how they mess around with that. Now, the only thing, my main concern with Pokemon Z Plus A is, since it's still releasing on Nintendo Switch 1, is the performance on Switch 1. Because the amount of frame dips and lags that we've seen from the previous Pokemon games on the Switch has been insane. Like, I get that Pokemon is starting a new thing with all these open world games, but at the same time, I have never seen a game series that Nintendo has made or worked on or worked with ever run this bad on any Nintendo console. It constantly either stutters, lags, or every single time the game releases, something will break. And it's insane. Next, we're going to be talking about Rhythm Haven Groove. Now, I have actually never played Rhythm Haven. I've seen videos on Rhythm Haven, and I've always wanted to give it a try, and I never have. So to see that there's finally a Rhythm Haven game coming back, and there's a new one at that and not a port, I am very interested to try it out. The art style looks like it does in other Rhythm Haven games, which is great, but it looks more detailed, it looks expanded upon, which I haven't seen a Rhythm Haven game look this detailed in any gameplay videos I've seen. And that is honestly making me really hyped for the game. Like, a lot of TLC happened in the background and happened in the foreground and happened in the art style and happened in the charting from what we've briefly seen. Plus, the music sounds good. I mean, a main part of the rhythm game is if your music doesn't sound good or if it's not popular music, no one's gonna play it, because why would you want to have a rhythm game? Why would you want to play a rhythm game if it's like, oh, this is one song is good, but you gotta listen to Seabad about 5 times. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. But also, I might be biased because I'm really hyped for this because I have a personal bias for rhythm games in general. I love rhythm games. Rhythm games has always been my pride and joy. I play like Osu, Just Dance, Friday Night Funkin', Geometry Dash, and I play so many more. Like recently, this is probably going to be like a huge off-topic thing, but recently the rhythm game I've been playing besides Necromancer is Hello Kitty Happiness Parade. And I know you're gonna be like, haha, playing Hello Kitty game, Lamau. But honestly, I don't really care. The game itself is fun. I like how they specifically have like the barriers you gotta avoid, and like I like the songs that they chose for it too. I feel like the songs that I've been playing so far have been pretty good. Now, my main sadness, and we're gonna talk about this later with Tomodachi Life when I get to freak out about that in just a second, is 2026 release date. That is so long away that I can't even start thinking about it, because it's just like let me get through this current year first, and I'm kind of sad we have to wait, but I'm hoping with waiting that this game is gonna really have the care and the care and time put in that it desperately needs to follow up after from my understanding so many great Rhythm Haven games. Okay, next and the last thing about this direct is Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I was honestly so shocked, but I am so happy that we're getting a new Tomodachi Life game, because I would have never thought that Nintendo would ever make a sequel to Tomodachi Life, even if it sold so well. Because it always felt like to me that Tomodachi Life was a one and done thing, and and like every single time I wanted Tomodachi Life, I wanted a port mainly, because I didn't feel like Nintendo could probably like replicate the magic, and that's probably why we haven't gotten a Tomodachi Life game in so long. But it looks like they really did, judging by the trailer. I like how they went the Animal Crossing route with it too, where everyone's on like an island of some sort. And honestly, I have my gripes with Animal Crossing New Horizons, but that's just because of how bare it was at launch, and that made me fall out of Animal Crossing pretty quick. So I'm hoping they don't repeat this twice. Now, it looks like it has the same meme maker as Miitopia, as me and a lot of others online have been speculating. And if it does, holy shit, that is a huge power play. Because Miitopia had so many great customization options for Miis. That was fucking insane. The art style change. I don't know if you've seen from the trailer. The art style briefly changed. Not briefly, but the art style did change. And it feels like a better art style for Tomodachi Life and Mii's as a whole. And I actually really do enjoy it. I like the more cartoony shade that they have over it. And 2026 again is so long away, but I am hoping that it's worth it. But yeah, that's going to be the first Trenton Talks More ever. I know that this was long, so thank you for sticking it with me, and I'm hoping that you did get your bag of popcorn at the beginning, like I suggested, because oh my God, were you going to need it? I'd like to thank everyone for sticking through me, especially with this long ass video. I don't blame you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be sure to be back with more Trenton Talks More and more regular Trenton Talks soon. Bye, everyone.